G'day YouTube. Sorry it's been a while since I've been back here. So I've got nearly 7,000 Ks on the Honda Transalp, and so far it's been quite good. Thought I'd do a little bit of a review about the bike and how it's gone, what I've done to it, and just my sort of thoughts in general. So now, first of all, what do I think Honda designed the bike for? I think the Honda designed it as a primary road, soft road touring bike, and it sort of has the adventure look, so it gives them sort of access to the wannabe market, so the people that want to look like they're doing stuff. You know, it's sort of the SUV of the motorbike world, this class of bike. Now, the next thing that I'd like to bring up is there's actually no unicorn bike. Okay, so now, if you want a bike to ride on the road, you need slick or nearly semi-slick tyres to get maximum performance, dry roads better. You know, you want lots of horsepower, lots of braking. So then, if you're trying to strive for a unicorn bike, then, you know, you want knobby tyres in case you get to the dirt. They're not very good for the road. You want long travel suspension, so you can jump these water bars instead of rolling them. You know, with the long travel suspension, you've got the first part of the travel's very soft, so it sort of keeps the wheel in contact with the ground over little trail chatter and small bumps. And then you need big travel to take up all the big hits and the big jumps. You know, that progressively ramps up so that you've got, you know, some plush ride as well. So that doesn't work well on the road. You know, the front forks will dive when you jam on the big brakes. The back will wallow when you accelerate. You know, it's very hard to get everything right. And, you know, you need, you know, hundreds and hundreds of horsepower on a motorbike. You know, the thing weighs a couple hundred kilos, so you need, you know, 1 horsepower per kilo, don't you? You know, and then, you know, you want weight, so of course you want it 90 kilos, so you can pick it up easy and throw it around, you know, and then, you know, you might need some mass to keep it stable on the road and stop it changing direction. So the unicorn bike just doesn't exist, so I think we all should sort of strive to use a bike in its sort of designed realm, and that's it. I've got plenty of friends that have spent $12,000 on cone forks for their KTMs. There's only really one of them that actually, you know, ridden the bike faster because of them. All the others are just sort of, I think they've got to have them. So that's my little sort of spiel on unicornness. And that reminds me, I was watching a very old motocross event a long time ago, and Ryan Dungey was complaining about his KTM bike. And Roger Costa, the team manager, said, Ryan, this is the bike you have. You have to learn to ride this bike. And I've always remembered that, and that goes a very long way. You know, if you're trying to make the bike do something that, you know, it's maybe not quite designed to do, then it'll either get you in trouble or you'll be unsatisfied by the bike. My brother and I recently rolled out 6,000 so Ks in India, up in the Himalayas, as well as Mongolia. So we went from nearly the border of China up to the border of Russia and Mongolia. And both those trips were on quite shitty bikes in comparison to the bikes both of us have in Australia. And what I decided quite early was there was no use complaining about the bike's lack of horsepower, lack of suspension, lack of brakes, because that's the bike we were on for that period of time. So rather than just sort of whinge about the bike and its lack of ability, we just focused on riding the bike to the best of our ability to within sort of most of the realms of the bike's ability. Sure, we're on the upper edge of the bike's ability in the term of performance we were demanding from them, but still we're under no delusion about the bike's overall performance level. So that's sort of my thoughts on that. Where I ride in Australia is quite remote, so nearly every time I've been out on this bike, I've had enough gear to be self-sufficient. So rainwear, enough clothes to be warm if I had to be stationary for tyre levers, tools, everything that I needed to be able to, one, get the bike going again if there was a problem, and keep myself comfortable and warm if I had to be. The bike's been able to do everything that I've asked of it, and again, I'm mindful of the bike specification and the performance of potentially the suspension, the motor, everything. It's definitely met my expectations. I'm starting to ride it more and more aggressive. I've got knobby tyres on it now, and they've been very good on the road. They've been very good on the dirt as well. Getting used to how much force I can use with it in the terms of outright horsepower. I've had the traction control right off, the ABS off on the rear. I still find that I use the rear brake a lot with just my riding in general, both road and off-road, because I've had more experience off-road than on the road. And if I've used the rear brake on and I've nearly had the rear brake locked up and I put the front brake on too, it still upsets the front brake ABS. So I've got to relax the rear brake, and then the pedal, the brake lever on the front will get rid of some of its softness and come back with good bite. Then I can reapply the rear brake as I need. So that's one sort of idiosyncrasy that I don't like, but I've figured out a workaround, and it takes me a couple of seconds or a millisecond to understand what's going on when the front brake lever sort of goes soft and won't increase the power on the front wheel. I roll off the rear brake a little bit, get back on the front brake, and away we go. We've got full braking again. I've done a fair bit of riding with Doug, the chap that was just opening the gate there. Nearly 3,000 Ks with him, and 98% of it all off-road. Very good rides. So this particular ride where we're going here is we've left sort of our region. We're sort of in the snowy mountains in Australia, and we're riding down to the coast down at Narooma. It's quite cold when we left in the morning, 3 or 4 degrees, and I think it ended up at 15 or 16. So we've reduced our layers as we went down, and great ride. Now I've also ridden it down to Melbourne to the MotoGP, the Australian edition. I think my brother and I and his son, we rolled out 3,500 Ks. We're on the bike some days 10 hours, so very big day getting down to Melbourne. Of course, we went the longest way possible on the twistiest roads we could find, and the bike proved very good. I've got some notes here that I've got to keep coming back to. So what I think the good points of the Honda Transalp are. Well, in Australia it's quite cheap, 15.8 on the road. That's quite good. The weight is reasonably light, 208 kilos they claim, full of fuel. It has very good balance. It carries its weight very well. It's an exceptional travel bike. So if you want to, wound out, big distances, I've done that, and I've been off-road for 10 hours as well in a day. That was nearly all standing. the 10 or so hours down to the GP or down to Melbourne. That was mostly sitting. Quite good power for the road. Certainly more than you need for overtaking in Australia. You know, none of the cars are going particularly fast. I always view that the gearboxes makes better acceleration than just sort of winding the throttle open in 6. So I'm not the type of rider that would just do that. I've completed in a roadbook rally as well, so we've got some footage on the screen now. Lots of rain that day, and this is on Sunday. It was a 2-day event. The bike proved very well. There was a few people on littler bikes having a fair bit of trouble. I had no trouble, no crashes. Now I got the tablet, and I got a handlebar controller for this event. The handlebar controller didn't turn up in time, but the tablet did. So that's a Samsung Active 3, and you can see the roadbook is on the screen. The only problem with not having a handlebar controller, I had to move it by hand. If you've ever tried to do anything with your phone with supposed tech gloves on in the rain, you'll know that nothing works particularly well. So I had a few troubles, had to stop a few times to manually reset the trip computers as well as wind the page forward. The gloves I have are 5 and they work reasonably well. The tactile thing for the technology, but buttons on the screen are small, you're bumping around on a bike, very hard to use. Since then I've actually had the handlebar controller on the bike and working, and it is a complete revelation in being able to navigate, scroll the map in and out, change the position of the map. It actually makes navigation much better. If you've ever ridden around in Australian pine forest, you'll know that a lot of the roads that look big on the map, when you get to them, haven't been used for a long time and very small, and sometimes, creeks are out or such. So it can be challenging to ride in the pine forest. The map helps you. You can recalibrate the map. You can see here I'm trying to scroll my road book forward with my thumb to move it to get to the new position. Sorry about this footage. This has been shot with a Sena 50C, and I must say, while the camera and the Bluetooth headset are quite good, the interface with the camera is just utterly painful. Like there's nearly no reception in any of the areas I ride. If I don't sync it when there's reception before I start, it will not start, it will not record. So I've missed a lot of footage over the 6,000 Ks at the moment because of that camera. I do have a couple other cameras, some GoPros, but those batteries have failed now less than a year, so it's a bit disappointing. We're back in the Blue Mountains now, so this is Jenolan Caves with a 6-foot track, climbing out from the bottom. I'd ridden this on a bicycle quite a few times, but I hadn't ridden it on a motorbike, so quite a nice place. I got some knobby tyres. We're back in the high country in the Victorian Alps now, and I'm starting to ride the bike more aggressively. The first 2,000 or so Ks, I didn't have knobby tyres on it. I just had the 70/30 tyres, so I was always wary that I'd run out of traction trying to slow down. You can see here that I use big throttle opening to steer the bike there. I must say that if you can stay balanced and stay on top of it, then it will do whatever you ask it to do. It's quite a good bike. I'm I feel that I'm riding it as aggressive or possibly more aggressive than the 450L and the 450X that I've got. The advantage of this is you've got a bigger fuel range, greater speed potential. You know, with the X and the L, if you're in third gear, you know, you don't have a 120k potential. You know, unless you're really very far in the rev range, and little bikes get very excited when they're up in the rev range that high, where this is still very trackable in the rev range at you know, 80 to 100 k's an hour. So I think the speed potential, even though potentially the suspension is not as good, is greater on this. Is it a vanilla bike? Well, of course, it's a Honda, so yes, it is a vanilla bike. It doesn't do anything utterly spectacular. You know, it's got, you know, the suspension is okay. You can certainly override the suspension at most points, but for the type of riding and the type of bike it is, I think it's actually quite a good mix. You know, there's a few things that... So, is it a vanilla bike? Well, certainly, it's a Honda, so it is. You know, it's built at a price point. Everything is done quite well on it. Motor's got good power. You know, it's got quite good torque. It's got a very good rev range, revs to 10,000 RPM. Produces its power and its torque quite high, so you've got to start to open it up to get its full power, but it certainly makes quite good torque and quite good power from, you know, 4,000 revs to 10,000 revs, so it's got a very big usable rev range. There's a few things that I think that it could do with. I think a fully enclosed chain guide would help it for the type of riding I'm doing. I can see myself at some point derailing the chain. I hope that doesn't do any damage when it happens. I think the air filter will take a reasonable amount of work to get to. I've got a new aftermarket air filter that has a greater volume than the stock one. I haven't fitted that yet or pulled the bike down, but my loose guess is an hour and a half for the first time to dismantle the bike. One of the problems with that is they just use little nylon press studs to locate some of the body panels. So I think if you're continuously taking them on and off, they'll fail. So I'm going to look at try to put some nut retainers in there to see if I can fit those with some bolts. See what I can do. Of course, the bike is light for its genre, but of course it's still a heavy bike. You know, at 61 years of age, the poor little thing's been on the ground now 4 times, twice exiting some river crossings. I got to the other side of it and overbalanced just at a rock on the way out. I've had I've had one, I'll call that a crash. I lost the front with the 70/30 tyre, and a topple over. I tried to lift the front wheel up over a tree root, and the back wheel was on the tree root and it walked sideways, and I dropped it. It fell out of my hands. I've been able to pick it up by myself 3 times and had some help. Actually, no, that's not correct. I've been able to pick it up twice by myself, and I've had help picking up twice. More notes. What else do I think about the bike? The tubes it came with were very thin. I've adjusted the chain twice now, so the chain would appear to be reasonable. It hasn't sat out the side of many Starbucks cafes. The only reason because there's not many around where I've ridden. I think the riding modes could be better. I think the gravel mode is atrocious. You essentially can't use it at all on the gravel. The bike won't go anywhere. If you're in any sort of steep terrain, it would make you fall over. I haven't actually had to use the other modes. I have used sport on the road. Whenever I'm off road, I go to the user mode and turn the traction control fully off, the ABS on the rear fully off. I mentioned the ABS before. Now it's actually got better fuel economy than my Honda CRF 450L as well, and that bike gets quite good fuel economy as well. I think the worst I've seen it is 5.1 litres per 100. You can work that out into your own little countries, whatever your bucket of stuff that you carry liquids around in is. Back to it being a vanilla bike. That's actually a disservice to the bike. So vanilla's quite a good flavour. You know what you're getting. It doesn't have maybe the bells and whistles of cookies and cream or something like that, but it's certainly a very satisfying flavour as an ice cream, and I would happily have a vanilla ice cream than none. So yes, it so far the bike has done everything that I've expecting it to do. It's handled the dirt very well, handles the road quite well. I haven't had too many people be able to go faster than me on the dirt or on the road. I've ridden it in all different road situations. So this is in Melbourne. This is heading back towards where I live. I've ridden it on B-class roads or C-class roads, light rural roads. I've ridden it in the city around Melbourne. I've ridden it in rural towns, so I've had a very good usage of the bike in its all its sort of general applications of what I think the bike is designed for. I've got no problem taking the bike anywhere that I think it should be able to go. I haven't tackled very hard single track yet, but I have tackled some single track like terrain, so tree roots. Sorry, the phone. Tree roots, logs, crossings, big rocks, single track style terrain, and it's done it quite well. It's a big bike. You don't want to get it out of balance, so I'm mindful of having a good form of commitment when I go over these obstacles. So I'm trying to attack them, pretty well. Sort of, I like to be able to emulate Billy Bolt with his riding, and that's the sort of mindset that I'm going with when I come across an object on it. The object will be crossed, and it will be crossed relatively in line with the bike, so straight across it, and with a good measure of aggression and power. Highway, plenty of speed. Like I said, the Australian roads, we've got a maximum speed of 110, so it's got plenty horsepower to get around any vehicle at any point, multiple vehicles at a time. Now it's got a lot of position, even for the 21-inch front wheel. You'll see in a minute here, I'm following a friend of mine we met in Thailand. We're riding Ducati multi-stratas, or they put me on a scrambler, try and slow me down a little bit. You'll notice that he'll apex every corner, and whereas I will be offset to him at every chance I get. That allows me to look forward on the road and maintain my position. I will follow the left-hand wheel track in general the whole time. I won't apex corners. That allows me to match my speed with the radius of the road. We're definitely on the road and off-road. We're trying to ride at 7/10. Don't want to get too far out of our depth in terms of speed coming up onto stuff. Oh, excuse me, coming up onto stuff. Hope you've enjoyed this. As everybody says on YouTube, please like and subscribe. I'm not trying to do this to make money, but it does feel nice when lots of people give you some feedback on what they think you've done well or poorly. I'm happy for comments on both of that. If you think I can do anything better, please let me know. It's been quite a learning curve, you know. The footage part isn't as difficult. You just leave the camera on, you know, but to actually get quite good footage is still challenging. Learning the software to do the editing is of course challenging. I'm still trying to work towards that. Hopefully I'm getting better. Hopefully you enjoy this video. The last little take is riding beside my brother and his nephew. I've ridden a lot with my brother. I'm more comfortable than he is on the road. I'm happy that I can move out of somebody's way. I can happily weave around people. I was a motorbike courier and a bicycle courier for quite some time, so I'm quite happy with my position on the road. As I mentioned, if I'm riding with somebody, I'll be offset, so we're each in a wheel track here, and quite comfortable being around each other as well, although I am a little bit more comfortable than my brother. So it helped us be concise on the road as well, so if we need to overtake a car, you know, then him and I both can get around the car at the same time. Thanks for watching.